If you're anything like me, you might need to stop trying as hard. So lately, I've been having a lot of change happen in my life, and I've finally started to realize what's made the change happen. And I used to think it came down to trying and trying to do the right thing and trying to be disciplined. But being able to stop doing a few things made me realize that trying wasn't necessarily the answer. And the answer is actually very simple. It's truly making a decision and changing your identity. See, I talk about identity and how when you truly make a new identity for yourself and you walk in a new path, then resistance gets lifted. And how that turns out is when I stopped vaping, it was genuinely, I was sitting in the car at the gym, getting ready to do my workout, but being lazy, sitting on my phone, and I was about to hit my vape. I had just gotten it like 2 days before. It was pretty full. And I specifically stopped right before I hit it and was like, put it down. I put the vape down. I was still sitting in the car for another 10 or so minutes, and I picked it up to hit it, and I mentally thought, get out of the car, throw the vape away, and start my workout. I need to get out of the car, throw my vape away, and start my workout. And so before I could hesitate, before anything else, I literally just grabbed my vape, grabbed my gym bag, got out of the car, threw the vape away, and started my workout. And I have not touched a vape since. I've been around vapes a couple times. I've been in environments where people were vaping, but I just simply haven't. And I don't foresee myself going back because I don't want to be a vapor. I'm not a vapor. I'm not someone who vapes anymore. That's not who I am, and I don't identify in that type of way. If someone were to offer it to me, I genuinely believe, at least from what I've seen, that I would say I don't vape. I'm not a vapor. That's not what I do. And it really opened my eyes to most things that I've been trying to do. I've been trying far too hard. See, when it comes to social media, when it comes to YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all these other things, I've been trying. And in the act of trying, I've been failing. I haven't been succeeding to the level and degree that I want. And this is the idea that got opened up into my eyes. When you're doing something, you simply be. And it sounds crazy. When you're doing something, you simply be. A football player doesn't try to be a football player. A fit person doesn't try to be fit. A musician doesn't try to be a musician. They simply be that. They exist with the awareness of whatever they are. As an athlete, I always showed up to practice and I simply played my sport. I had fun. I didn't try to do X, Y, Z. And whenever I tried to do things, that's when the problem arose. I didn't try to make touchdowns. They happened when they happened. I didn't try to score in lacrosse. I would work the ball around. If I had an opportunity, I would take a shot. But whether or not I scored was a different thing. I didn't try to do great on defense. I stood in front of my man. I followed the rules of what my defense did, and I allowed myself to be. I turned off my brain. I stopped having expectations. I stopped trying to do X, Y, and Z, and it panned out. And that's what I've started to realize is when you stop trying and you simply do the thing you need to do, you simply be the thing you need to be, you get better. You succeed more. When it comes to posting these YouTube videos, I'm not trying to grow an audience anymore. Now, I may be trying to convey a message. I'm not trying hard to get a specific outcome. The outcomes of what happens with this video is beyond me because I am a content creator. I create content. Nothing that I'm doing is outcome based. I'm at the point where I know one day I'll make money from YouTube. I know this will all lead to something bigger, but I'm not trying to make that happen anymore. Right now, I am simply sitting in the fact that I'm a content creator and I'm going to create content. I'm sitting in the fact that I'm a coach, so I've been putting together programs for fitness, for personal development, for X, for Y, for Z. And when those come out, whether or not people buy them, I will have them because that is a part of my brand. And so I'm not trying to do anything anymore. I'm simply being and doing, and whatever happens from it happens. Because here's an even bigger part of this. For the past 2 years, I've tried to be a personal trainer. I've tried to be a fitness instructor. The most ironic part about trying to do these things is whenever I genuinely stopped caring and I was like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to do the bare minimum, and I'm going to literally let whatever happens happen, everything fell together as it needed to. There was a period of time where I had sold a handful of personal training sessions. I had gotten a handful of clients, but the gym I was working at, they made me give away those clients to other trainers. And ultimately, I got to a point where one of my managers told me I wasn't selling enough. And so I got frustrated, and I genuinely got to a point where I was like, I don't care how this turns out. And over the next 6 hours that day, I had 6 sales meetings, and every single one I went in without a care whether or not I actually made a sale. I simply was like, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to tell these people what to do. I'm going to tell them by 3 days a week PT. I literally stopped caring about the outcome. I stopped trying to help as much as possible. I stopped trying to tell people what I thought they needed. And I simply said, you should get 3 days personal training per week. And the most ironic thing is I was frustrated that I wasn't selling enough. I had been working, I'd been trying, and I could not get a sale. But as soon as my manager annoyed me and I said, fuck this, I'm not about to try and sell anymore. I'm going to go to these people and I'm going to say, you need to do this. And I'm going to look them in their eye and wait for them to say no. People actually started buying. So when you want to do anything, first start with B. You need to embody the existence of whatever it is. If you're going to be a salesman, understand, regardless of what anybody thinks, regardless of what anybody buys, you are a salesperson. So your job is to sell. You sell. That's what you do. That's not what you're trying to do. That's what you do. A bee doesn't try to be a bee. A bee wakes up and it buzzes. A tree doesn't try and be a tree. A tree sits there and it grows and it gets its roots deep. Be what it is that you want to be, regardless of the outcome. If you're going to be a martial artist, do martial arts. Outcome or not, it doesn't matter. Title or not, it doesn't matter. If you're a husband, before you have a wife, be a husband. Have that standard, have that level of excellence. Be that man who is a husband. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, be that entrepreneur. If you're going to have style when you make it, have style when you're broke. Anything you want to do, simply do it. It doesn't matter how well you can do it. Have the existence. Be what it is you want to be. And then you will end up doing the things that are necessary for you to do. When I took the identity of being a vapor out of my existence, I stopped identifying with vaping. I didn't want to. I don't want to. I don't think about vaping anymore. It's simply something that's not a part of me. I let it go. There was no effort into it. I didn't try anything. I simply one day was at the gym. I said, I need to throw this away. I did, and I never looked back. It's the exact same thing with alcohol. It's been almost a year since I had my last sip of alcohol, and one morning I was literally just drinking a twisted tea. My friend asked me, hey, why are you drinking a twisted tea? It's the morning. And I said, you're right. I poured the rest out and I've never drank again. There wasn't no, oh, I'm trying to stop drinking. It was, I simply stopped, and it was that way. When it came to creating content, one day I posted a video, and though there have been parts and times when I haven't made more videos, I've officially become a content creator. I create content. Whether it's good or not, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, I create content. I'm going to have some terrible videos. Some of them are going to flop, but I exist in the being of a content creator. So once you can understand the be aspect, then you can move into the mental side of that being, right? So first you need to understand how to be. Being is simply existing as something, right? But what gets you to be able to control that being? It's your mindset. Once you start deciding I'm going to be X, you need to look into what the mindset of that person is. Football players have a specific mindset. That's why a lot of football players relate to each other in a lot of ways. Basketball players have a specific mindset. Athletes in general have a specific mindset and a way they see the world. But musicians see the world in a specific way. Artists in general see the world in a specific way. You need to start learning about the mindset of the person that you're going to be, or the person that you are being. You need to change what you think about the world. I don't care if you feel like you're the most hated person in the world. If you want to be the next Beyonce, you have to understand there's billions of people on this planet who love your music. I don't care if you've never made a song. You need to walk around the world thinking constantly that there's people listening to your music. And genuinely, it needs to be something that doesn't even sway your emotions. Beyonce is probably at the point where she expects people to listen to her music and she doesn't care whether or not the next person does. She's used to people listening to her music all the time because that is just her mindset. She knows she drops some music and the Beehive is gonna go crazy. Justin Bieber showed up to Coachella and he put YouTube on and literally was like, hey, what song do you guys want to listen to? People would be like, oh, he put on Baby, and people started singing along to the point where he stopped just monotonally singing and he actually started to put that vocal on. He said, baby, 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 oh. I can't do it. I don't got vocals like that, but I am not a singer. I am not a singer. I'm not trying to embody that. That's not who I'm trying to be. That's not what I do. And so I don't need the mindset of a singer. I don't need to be the person who goes out and sings all the time. But at the same time, if that's the path for you, that's the path for you. Go, be it, and think like them. So once you've actually started to master the idea of thinking like the person you're trying to be, then all it comes down to is do what they do. Except doing the thing terribly. Do it bad, do it mad, do it sad. When you feel like you have nothing to do and you're bored, get up and do the thing. For me, it's creating content. I get to a point now where I'd be scrolling on TikTok, on Instagram, and I'm like, that's a great video. I'm going to emulate it. There's so many points throughout my day where I think about something and I'm like, that's a video. I'm going to make that. Because I am thinking like a creator. Now there's so many points throughout the day where I'm like, this is such a great message to coach somebody on. Like if I get an opportunity, I'm going to tell somebody about this. Even to this point right now where I'm at the point where I enjoy leadership, I enjoy learning, and I enjoy teaching so much that I've began to actually read more leadership books just so that I can make more videos on leadership and what it actually means to be a leader, what it actually means to think like a leader, what it actually means to do leadership activities. And so my mindset has become impacted to the point where leadership is embodied by my thinking. I think about leadership. I want to do leadership things. I want to talk in front of a crowd. Like I've gotten to the point where I'm very, very, very excited about the fact that soon I know I'm going to be a public speaker. I'm going to be speaking in front of hundreds of thousands of people. And it's kind of nerve-wracking, but it's actually very, very exciting because that's who I am. Now, how do I become that? I don't fully know, but I'm going to start thinking like it. And I'm going to start talking to camera so I can get used to talking to crowds. And the more people who see my content, the more I'm going to get comfortable with the world seeing and hearing me. And once the world sees and hears me for what I have to say, then I can walk on a stage and it's probably going to be bad the first few times. And I'll probably only be in front of 5 to 10 people and I'll be a little bit nervous, but soon that will become easy because I will have been a public speaker. I will have thought like a public speaker. Then I will have done what a public speaker does and public spoke. And then at that point, it simply comes down to repetition. Life becomes so much easier when you can embody what you want to do without... my camera actually overheated, so I'm not done with the message, but I had to get some gas. So I'm about to hop out and actually fill up. And then we'll talk while I actually fill up. So, cool. Sam's car. Yeah. All right. So that took way too long. I don't know why my card wasn't working with it, but one thing, so I remember I was getting into it. Right. But when you get to the point where you're working on being someone, being something new, being in general, being is simply existing as something. So first you have to start with shifting your mindset. Once you get to the point where you have the mindset and you're thinking like whatever you want to be, then it's very simple. Do the thing. Do it good, do it bad, do it and just use your creativity. Allow yourself to express whatever it is that you're doing to the best of your ability, to the best of your creativity. And once you're able to do the thing, however it is that you do it, then allow yourself to grow and develop. After you've gotten to the point where you can do the thing, whether it's good, bad, whatever, imbue your own version of creativity into whatever it is that you're doing, then the game becomes fun. Because at that point, every single day, all you have to do is try to get 1% better. Spend 5, 10, 15 minutes doing the thing that you're already working on. You've already done it 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, however many times you've already done it, you've done it. You know the process, you know what it is to actually do that activity. And so then it becomes something where as you work on becoming 1% better at the activity, then the being of whatever it is you're trying to be comes out. I talked about how Justin Bieber, he showed up to Coachella and simply played YouTube videos of his own music because he doesn't own the rights to it anymore. But because he sang that song so many times, when he realized the crowd was actually involved in it, then he allowed himself to be. He became Justin Bieber of the past. He pulled out those vocals and he sung with creativity, with flair, with his heart. He was able to go from being Justin Bieber just singing at his low monotone point to actually singing with grace, with love, with focus. And that's all you have to do to simply be whatever it is. For me, when it comes to being a content creator, I am getting so much like this, whatever this video turns into. I have no clue, but I had a topic. I have an idea of what I'm trying to convey. Trying to convey. But I'm allowing myself to be a creator. I'm allowing myself to be a public speaker. And the message that is coming out is purely creativity. I'm getting to the same point. I'm speaking on the same key points. Be, exist as something. Think how that thing would exist. Then do what that thing does. And simply at that point, continue to get repetitions in, because that way you can get 1% better every day. And your message, your being, your creation can come to life. Now, I kind of rambled and I'm off kilter, and I think I got the message of this video out. So I got to get this gas pump collected, whatever. I gotta finish this up, but you're trying too hard. Stop trying so hard. Trying does nothing. Simply be, simply think, simply do, and act. Act, and imbue parts of yourself into the being of whatever it is you're trying to be, and life will change. Life gets so much easier when you stop trying and you simply do while being the best you can be. So try it out.